Hello from Bali. This is the podcast Pigeon of Peace, where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about talent, and let's start with the definition.
When I'm hearing about talent, I remember a story from ancient Greece. There was a master who gave to his slaves biggest coin. At this time, it was named talent, and one of them was just spent it out. Another just was buried into the ground, and just third was used for something for some good. So there is a saying in Russian language, maybe in some other languages: do not bury your talent. So use it to make world better, and as you always saying at the end of our podcast, and so on.
So, if we treat the talent as this coin that was given to us, so whether it's something that we get from our master, whoever it is, or maybe something that we earn.
Yes, it's nice to think that there is a God and an omnipotent master who give us ability to do something. And there is another podcast we already recorded. It's named Ikigai. That's about Japanese art, how to make something good, useful for people, to earn money, and to make all people happy. But talent, not an Ikigai. Talent not always will lead you to a fortune. Sometimes you will make it to make everyone happy. For example, you just think or you cook some dishes, or maybe you wrote a book. And talent depend not from you and not from your parents. This is about conditions and your efforts. There is a book I have read already. The name of it is Success, and formula of success is efforts multiplied by признание.
Need to think about this one.
Okay. So when people are happy to use what you are doing, in this case, you will be successful. So talent sometimes could be hidden. For example, you could ride a horse. Sometimes maybe you able to swim in the storm waters, or maybe you see and mushrooms couldn't hide from your eagle eye. But if you will not use your talent, no one will know. So you should use it. This first. Second, you should be the best about all observation on some territory. And third, people should whisper about your talent.
So is there any border, like when the talent becomes like a professionalism and then the mastery, or it's always a talent? It just might be like a stage that was given at the beginning, and then it's up to you to decide like how to use it.
There is a saying in Russian language: if you will work by the road of your hobby, you will never go to make a job. You always will be you will like what you do. The same with talent. If you combine your talent with your current duties, in this case, your customers will be happy, and your boss will be happy, and shareholders will be happy, and you will grow as a small bamboo in a very fast mode. But if your talent is going to be perpendicular to your abilities, so it would be very sad. For example, you could talk, but you should sit silent. For example, you could make some financial schemes, but you will be asked not to improve and just follow the routine. And maybe you are able to sing, but everyone will say, do not use your voice. So yes, it is would be your luck if you could use your talent with same time with your duties.
Well, and as you mentioned as well, sometimes I do believe there might be like a certain resistance, whether it's like inner, where, like you, for example, hesitate or maybe not sure about something, or maybe it also could be external. Let's say like your relative saying, okay, just sit where you are, don't really move. Or it might be your colleagues who, I do remember there was a crop bucket example, but also don't want you to, like show your talents. So general question is like how to deal with such resistance, especially when like the other side is winning. So how to be like the tenant and make sure that you still keep going forward, or knowing when to stop.
After my lecture about talent in School of Troubleshooters, I got a short video about Tiskaridze. This is a ballet dancer, male ballet dancer from Russia, and I do not want to watch this because I don't like such a kind of profession for men. But I was under pressure, and when sender insist, I look it, and suddenly I realized what was the reason to send it for me. This Carissa was saying something like this: when I was young, I started to dance in a ballet, and my father turned out of me because he couldn't be proud of something masculine I do. But after several years, I invited him to Kremlin Palace. It was very huge and very important ballet, and my father was sitting and he was hiding his eyes, and I was so worried about this. But after he hear how many applause I got, and so many people was shouting bravo, and they will use their hands to make a very big noise. And suddenly I saw my father, he was crying and his tears were falling on his cheeks. And after this, he came to my room and he hugged me. And after this, peace was established in our family. And this about resistance. The same, for example, with me. I am always trying to sit after lessons and to solve some mathematical and physical tasks. And my father was always a bit angry, and he was saying, why you spend so many electricity? But when I was finishing institute with a red diploma, so like with excellence, and when I was become PhD and so other, and author of antivirus and so on, my father suddenly also hugged me and said, now I'm proud of you, my young boy. And I was thinking, but this is just top of the mountain. This is a paramount part of this job. But when I was trying to do this, everyone was against it. My mother and my father, my friends. This about crab basket you already mentioned. A lot of people do not want you to be developed because they want you to be the same as them. So you just usual, and you just meant to talk, to eat, to drink all together, but nothing more. But suddenly you will become something like a balloon. You will go out and you will stay high and high, and in this case you will lose a lot of your old friends and maybe some neighbors, and but anyway you will get another horizons, and on this horizons you will see another balloons, and they also could be talented.
And somehow you also reminded me the mistake of the survivor. So those people actually who were saved, in fact, they're telling stories, and people who are not saved actually don't tell stories because they're already dead. And sometimes I do believe when we try to, like maybe discover the talents, we might be encouraged again, like by our relatives or maybe even by people surrounded us, and we may believe that we do have a talent and just will be developing something that definitely not worth it. For example, I was like a fishing the other day, and I think I was just lucky to, like to get some fish. And, all of the fishermen who were around were saying, oh, you like really know how to do stuff. But literally, I just was making one movement, nothing else. So how to deal with this thing, like when you do feel, okay, there is something you're trying to do, but how to, again, like know where to stop, like whether really my talent could bring me anywhere.
This is about how many attempts you have done. For example, if you will put just one brick in a wall, and maybe it would be quite perfect. But if you will put like one meal of bricks, the wall couldn't be the same. You will be or more professional, or you will be more just usual. The same with other. For example, in a school or in institute, you will be asked to swim for a team, to run for a marathon, or maybe some other competitions. And if you will be in those competitions several times as a winner, yes, maybe it's about talent. But if you will be not so consistent, if you will sometime lose, maybe this about not a talent, and maybe you should shift yourself a bit. For example, I see a lot of people who write articles, and some of them have good style but have no structure, and another have structure but have no style. But if you want to be a writer, you should be with several components in all together, and if you have them all, maybe you could be not a Julian Rowling who wrote Harry Potter, but you would become a famous writer. But if you would not write, I don't know, 1,000 articles, you wouldn't become. There is a story which I like a lot about book which calls like 100 years of aloneness, 100 одиночества.
Yes.
This was a man who was trying to write his third book, and he was not lucky to get money for previous two. But his wife sold all their belongings and about to help him. He has a strong belief that his husband would be very famous. And now, when he became famous, she were so lucky, and everyone was saying, yes, there is a talented man, but behind him was a great woman.
Well, then my last question will be how knowing about talent could help make this world a better place.
There are some words which I don't like so much, but it was used very often. This is about talent. This is about goal of your life. This is about some aim and so on. You know, if you have no talent, this not means that you are just this common person. Maybe you have not discovered it yet. There is a curve I have seen on LinkedIn, something like people who made their startups at a very old age, and something like after 40, and some of them were creating business in 70, in 80, in 90, and you know, it's very not usual. So you are almost finish your life, you know, in 90 maybe it's time to go and to be used to the grave, but suddenly you will establish a brand of tequila, or maybe you will create some pastry, or maybe you will start to create a gem. So there is nothing to be afraid. If you are not open your talent in yourself, maybe you should use or to change some behaviors and some your attempts. Maybe you would become a fisherman, but maybe if you will try to make some bakery, maybe you will become more famous. Or maybe if you will try to grow mushrooms, maybe you will be more famous. Or the same with shrimps, or maybe I don't know about running and about singing. So no one knows how many talents are in you. And if you just think about this, if you find at least one, you're lucky. But do not stop about this. Maybe you will find some more.
Well, it's all about the number of attempts, and we review the skill of talent and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.